Hey guys, it's Grant again. I just finished up almost 30-minute video of me talking and a little bit of rambling, but guided by notes to a good degree and just the flow of my thoughts. But hopefully the next one will be more concise. This one I believe will be, I'm going to read a poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson from my little Emerson poetry book. That's called Blight, and I will discuss what I believe we should come to think of this poem in our day and age, and I'll look at a few lines and kind of break them down, and then you guys can break them down for yourselves, or you can break them down before I break them down, and then see how each of our breakdowns compare. Give me truths, for I am weary of the surfaces, and die of inanition. If I knew only the herbs and simples of the wood, rue, cinquefoil, jill, vervain, and agrimony, blue velch and trillium, hawkweed, sassafras, milkweeds and murky brakes, quaint pipes and sundew, and rare and virtuous roots, in which these woods draw untold juices from the common earth. Untold, unknown, and I could surely spell their fragrance, and their chemistry apply, by sweet affinities to human flesh, driving the foe and establishing the friend. Oh, that were much, and I could be a part of the round day, related to the sun and planted world, and full executor of their imperfect functions. But these young scholars who invade our hills, bold as the engineer who fells the wood, and traveling often in the cut he makes, love not the flower they pluck, and know it not, and all their botany is Latin names. The old men studied magic in the flowers, and human fortunes in astronomy, and an omnipotence in chemistry, preferring things to names, for these were men, were Unitarians of the united world, and wheresoever their clear eye beams fell, they caught the footsteps of the same. Our eyes were armed, but we are strangers to the stars, and strangers to the mystic beast and bird, and strangers to the plant and to the mind. The injured elements say, not in us. And night and day, ocean and continent, fire, plant, and mineral say, not in us. And haughtily return us stare for stare. For we invade them impiously for gain. We devastate them unreligiously, and coldly ask their pottage, not their love. Therefore they shove us from them, yield to us only what our griping toil is due, but the sweet affluence of love and song, the rich results of the divine conscience of man and earth, of world beloved and lover. The nectar and ambrosia are withheld, and in the midst of spoils and slaves, we thieves and pirates of the universe shut out daily to a more thin and outward rind, turn pale and starve. Therefore, to our sick eyes, the stunted trees look sick, the summer short, clouds shade the sun, which will not turn our hay, and nothing thrives to reach its natural term. And life, shorn of its venerable length, even at its greatest space, is a defeat, and dies in anger that it was a dupe, and in its highest noon and wantonness and is early frugal, like a beggar's child, with most unhandsome calculation taught, even in the hot pursuit of the best aims and prizes of ambition, checks its hand, like alpine cataracts frozen as they leaped, chilled with a miserly comparison of the toy's purchase with the length of life. So there's a few very clear parts of this poem where we talk about the magic of the wild, of the earth, of all its fruits, all its plants, all its animals, all the rocks and the mountains and all these forms that earth has made for us, made for these other animals too, made for its own sake. So you see this, he talks about the old men studied magic in the flowers, and human fortunes in astronomy, and an omnipotence in chemistry, preferring things to names. For these were men, were Unitarians of the united world. United world. That's not how we are right now. This is the blight that he talks about. This is turning pale and starve. Therefore, to our sick eyes, we don't see the world united anymore because we don't live united with the world. We don't live in our most primal ways. Aristotle talks about, like, what is the most primal, like, knowledge that we can base this upon. Philosophers are like, what is the first principle, like, all these things that, like, we seem to have forgotten. Like, it's this united world, this magic in the world, and we're, like, kind of separate from that in our society, and we don't, like, see it like these old traditional old men and women, I'm sure, who studied this magic. So we need to, like, realize, like, it's not so far from us. We can go out into the wild, we can experience this. But an interesting thing is, like, we go out there and then we come back to, like, society, to our safety, but, like, then it seems to, like, almost die. Like, we go there, we, like, live, like, wonderfully, and love the wild, love the wilderness, if we're open to it, if we're not in our minds, if we're in our bodies, and if our bodies are healthy, then it's even more of an incredible experience. I'm sure many athletes who might watch this, or many people who believe they're in good health, who, like, eat lots of fruits and vegetables and listen to their bodies, and their bodies tell them good things most of the time, then, like, you can definitely attest to the fact that when you're healthier, you just, like, love life more, just naturally. It's just automatic. So a lot of it is this before the alienation of man from nature, it's this unity. So and I like in the beginning how Emerson talks about, give me truths, for I am weary of the surfaces and die of inanition. If I knew only the herbs and simples of the wood, and he lists all these rare and virtuous roots, which in these woods draw untold juices from the common earth. Yeah. So he in this sense, like, he names them, but he's preferring these things to the names. Emerson is talking about, like, all the variety, the biodiversity. Like, that's a beautiful thing. We don't, like, just, like, it's not necessarily that beautiful to, like, go into a farm filled with corn stalks, just rows and rows and rows, or, like, go to an office and see rows and rows and rows of cubicles. Like, these things, like, sure, they're organized well, like, they're taken care of, but they kind of disrupt the natural order, and the natural order is variety. It's spontaneity. We thought that it was something else, and we're still trying to think, like, what's the best man-made order for these things? But really, it's like that won't top off any natural order, because we'll keep treating symptoms and not causes. And yeah, I could go on that, but I won't. So yeah, and then there's another part where it's like he kind of turns from these magicians of old to today, like how we, or in his time, and then today, how we coldly ask their pottage, not their love. And so we like expect so much from nature in our order, in our rows, and what we think is organization, but really it's not the best yield for us or for these plants and animals. So yeah, you just see it in agriculture, you see it in like anything that we've kind of started. We shouldn't have to start things like of massive organization. We should just be able to live and enjoy that just like any other animal. Sure, we should create things. We have a great power to do that, to create beautiful things. But I don't think in the way that we do it right now is the best way for us and for the wild. And we can't exist without the wild. Like, if we kill Earth, we're gonna kill ourselves eventually. So yeah. And then in the end, he's kind of talking about how just all these things that we're like forcing to yield these certain things, like, they're not gonna yield what we want. So we gotta be careful. Like, sure, we could have gardens and stuff and like still probably be good, but like, why don't we just live more in accord with this united world of nature, of the wild? And it's a really sad poem, because it's very true to what humanity is up to and has been up to. But I think if we just contemplate these kinds of words and ideas and the experience of being out in the wild, like if we go live that experience and listen to our bodies, then we can really bring more beauty into the world than what we have been. So with that, it's Grant Big Cat out. I'll talk to you guys later, and maybe talk with you guys soon. Take care. Bye.